you there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Formula Pod. And today we are talking all about the Hungarian Grand Prix at the Hungaroring. It's a very interesting rhyme. Hungarian Grand Prix at the Hungaroring. But yeah, it even gave us enough amount of actions as well. Again, another race win. So much radio drama. In fact, it's one of the best radio drama I've ever heard. And yeah, joining me today is Nathan. He's back. Not because Ferrari won, but that Ferrari did do some significant performance. Have to give that to them. But yeah, he's there. And then the person who's supposed to be here, Vishruthi, never even made it.
And it's a McLaren one too. And she missed
Exactly.
out. That's a shame, man. That's a shame.
Last week, even though it was not a Mercedes 1-2, just Mercedes being number one, two Mercedes fans did the show.
Yeah, together.
And we did it together. We were like, the OG style, we'll do it.
And that was a really good episode. And it's kind of sad that Vishruthi is not here for the McLaren 1-2 episode. But you know what? That gives us the license to, roast that certain team.
Oh, yes. In a way, it should have been the iconic papaya win. Actually went a lot more dramatic. So
yeah, it was weird, wasn't it?
Exactly. Okay, I understand. Okay, the drivers are in constant pursuit of winning their own races. But at the end of the day, there's something called as the team. So again, there is that drivers' championship, but ideally there's also something called as the constructors' championship, which involves two cars, not one. Except if it's Red Bull, because Max Verstappen is the only one who's properly getting something for Red Bull. But McLaren, again, I'm sorry, something is really, really going on which they really need to get around with.
The last time I felt weird about a 1-2 finish this is really funny, but when Mercedes used to do the team orders when Bottas was in front, and then James had to come on and tell him, Valtteri, it's James, please give up position. That was the last time when it felt really odd to see like a 1-2. But this one was just really weird. I don't know, the way they executed it, it was just blackmail for some reason. The way Lando's engineer was just guilt tripping him and manipulating him over the radio was just insane.
It's not only just that, like the amount of times, like he in fact at a point was just begging Lando Norris to be like, please remember our Sunday meetings, just try giving up, you proved your point, we understand that. And still, again, I'm like, what's really going on? Since you told the bit about Bottas, I feel Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, the best pairing, which actually followed team orders. Whereas
Definitely.
you see that with Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, the worst. That both drivers eventually ended up crashing, and Mercedes kept a particular clause on their contract that if they ever damage the car by getting in contact with each other, they will have to pay from their own pockets. Since then, I remember in an interview with Nico Rosberg said, we had to pay for the damages we did if we raced against each other, which in a way, what keeps the team on discipline. But this, was absolutely, again, 1-2 is something which you need to enjoy, but rather you just have such sort of competition. And that too, I don't know, McLaren for the very first time using something called the steam order. Literally,
and
that is
it's
something
really
which
funny.
Actually took me off.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to put myself in a McLaren fan shoe, leave that. If Ferrari did something like this, I would go on about how mismanaged the team has been. And that is something that I would have seen it during Mattia Binotto's days or something like that, because that team was just a clown show, honestly speaking. But the car wasn't that good. This time, McLaren have a really good car. And I have been saying this for past few episodes. McLaren have had the best car for the past 5 or 6 races. And for the first time, they have a car that's so good to finish 1-2. It's not as satisfying to watch as I think as a McLaren fan as well. I don't think it was the most satisfying race to watch just because of how it was executed. I really don't know how a McLaren fan would see that. I do want to know what the McLaren fan has to say, because a certain McLaren fan has joined us.
See,
you are late.
Hi guys.
You're so late.
Hi guys. No, it's just okay. Now Nathan wants my opinion. I shall give my opinion.
Go for it.
As a McLaren fan, I have to be happy with the 1-2, but I don't like the the way they got the 1-2. It could have been dealt with a lot more better than the undercuts and the almost blackmailing in my point of view. When you give someone that opportunity to win and who's in contention for the Drivers' Championship, you don't put him on P1 and then push him back and give it to his teammate. That's not the right thing to do, in my opinion. A lot of people would think, okay, Lando's selfish, but personally, I don't think that. He has a valid reason to want to retain that position and be in P1, because when you give someone that opportunity, you don't steal it away. It's like taking candy from a baby. And granted, yes, the way he reacted post race in the cool down room wasn't so great, but from my perspective, it's warranted, but not to that extent. I wish they could have dealt with this strategy a little bit more better than what they did.
No, that's completely expected from the drivers. Think about it. Even a Lewis Hamilton, if he's told just slow down or give the position to Russell, he's going to react the same way, regardless of the situation.
It is the same. We've seen 3 different scenarios. I was watching this video today morning. 3 scenarios. One, the ever so famous Max and Checo in Brazil. Max did not give that position, cost Checo P2. The second, Lando and Oscar, they fought, but Lando still gave the position. And then Lewis and Valtteri. I don't remember where it was. Lewis just gave the spot and Valtteri went for a win. There's 3 different scenarios, 3 different ways they've dealt with it. Lewis, I don't know when exactly that happened, the Lewis and Valtteri thing. I'm guessing it's after he won quite a few championships. This one means a lot to Lando.
I'll just clarify on that with the Lewis Valtteri situation. I know who he was basically fighting and then who basically ended up getting it. So actually, they were trying to fight Kimi Räikkönen, and Lewis thought probably he will have the better speed because, of course, the Mercedes car back then was built around him. But then James Walsh said, okay, Valtteri is James, and then allowed him in. And then towards the end, Lewis couldn't do that, and then he gave the position back to Valtteri. So that, again, is like a win. I would not compare that with this situation because Lewis was mature enough to give that position back to Valtteri because it was Valtteri's.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have seen this, but the last McLaren win was in Monza 2021, and there are a lot of coincidences to this. It's an Australian winner. We have got Lando in second. We've got a Mercedes driver in P3. You've got a Verstappen Hamilton contact. You've got Charles Leclerc finishing outside the podium, and then you've got Pierre Gasly DNFing. What?
You don't gotta do that, man. You don't gotta do that.
The poor boy suffered enough with Ferrari's downfall. Okay, let him be.
Sorry, where did Russell finish again?
Russell finished P8.
Where was that?
He had a good recovery, Nathan. You have to give it to him.
Again,
you have to. It's a Mercedes. You have to drive like that. You're not Perez who ends up like P14, P15. Actually, he did it
quite well. Yeah.
I mean, his seat is under pressure, so he has to
did it quite well. Again, at least one thing is that George can keep his car in one single piece, unlike Perez, who in qualifying ends up messing. Because I have a full list coming your way of the Destructors Championship. Who is on top and who is on bottom, I'll tell you in a while. But yeah, coming back to the McLaren.
You can easily tell who would be on top.
Yeah, but wait for it. Honestly speaking, it was supposed to be a very great day. And yes, Lando was in P1. I'm not denying that. But when Oscar was in P1, what McLaren should have done is Oscar had the track position. So Oscar needs to. So again, in terms of pecking order, Oscar Piastri needs to be the first to be prioritized. Then Lando Norris comes in. Instead, what happened is Lando Norris was called in, who did the undercut and then went through. So which in a way benefits Lando than Oscar. If, for example, Oscar did that, Oscar will easily recover back up because again, the McLaren car, it's fast. It is, as per Lewis Hamilton, a rocket ship, and he'll do that. But instead, this doesn't come just to the drivers, it also comes to the strategy as well. McLaren choosing Lando over Oscar, that is where I have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't blame the drivers at all in this situation.
But again, Lando's reaction,
it's a team thing.
Lando's reaction to his radio
really,
engineer.
Don't you think it's warranted, Arjun? If you put yourself in that position, okay, where you undercut, you go and you're in P1 right now, you have a beautiful pit stop, they mess up your teammate's pit stop, causes him to go back, his teammate not able to recover, 9 seconds behind, you're going at the same pace. What would you do in that situation? You would think, okay, I'm gonna win this, I'm gonna have my next win. That would be what you would think. That's 100% sure. I can give it to you in writing what went through Lando's head.
See, agreed.
I mean, ideally speaking, no, I absolutely agree with you, Vish, but Here's the thing. If McLaren had those discussions, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure they did, and they had
Yeah.
those discussions about keeping the team order that is, if Piastri is leading from lap
Mhm.
one or from so and so lap, he should keep position. I bet they've had those conversations.
Yeah.
So if I was the team principal of McLaren and Lando was 3 seconds ahead of Piastri after the pit stops, I would for sure give out a team order, tell Lando to give the position, and tell him it is a must. The only mistake I think that Lando did, and I really don't know if that's a mistake, is he should have just given him that position instead of waiting all the way to the end. Because I'm 100% certain that Lando had the pace to pass Oscar again. Because the way he was pulling that gap from Oscar, it was insane. He had a lot of pace on those medium tires, and he could have easily done that. It's so mismanaged that poor Oscar, I mean, it's his first win, and it had to be tainted like this,
Yeah.
where he had to win in such a way where his teammate had to give him that
Quite
position,
sure
to
he
give him
didn't
that win.
enjoy the win also. Like you could hear it in the radio when he won. You could hear it in the radio. It was like, yeah, thank you guys, and that was it. It was not much. There was not much of a celebration. It was barely anything. I
To
would
be
not.
fair, he does. To be fair, he reacts like that to anything.
He
So
he
Pretty
does,
much
but I
that.
mean a first win. That's
yeah,
huge. It's something that any driver would dream of since they were a kid.
that's
And
true. That's
it to
true.
be tarnished like that, like I'm not faulting the drivers. Like I get it. Yes, Lando could have, in the beginning, not when they were like the gap was extremely big, but when they were close, you don't know what goes on in their head, right? Maybe Lando did not want to lose the pace that he had, but he wanted Oscar to catch up to him because same tires, pitted one lap after the other, same car. He thought Oscar could catch up because Oscar's done that, but he said, "Ask him to catch up to me." Then when the distance started increasing, he didn't have a choice but to slow down and give Oscar the win. But I just feel like they could have dealt with the strategy a little bit more better. I would not fault it on the drivers. I would fault it more on the strategists.
McLaren are lucky that they don't have a Max Verstappen, or even for that matter, a Mercedes
Yeah.
pairing of Lewis and George attacking them. Because I think Mercedes kind of missed out on that as well, because they have a really good package. But obviously, their car, with the track and with the conditions, it didn't really suit them that much
Yeah.
compared to the McLarens. But, they're really lucky that they didn't have those three behind them, because if they did, then I don't think McLaren would have had a 1-2 finish for
Yeah, I
sure.
don't think so.
Definitely. And Max, man, that's another topic.
That's
Another
I
a
topic.
thought he would have
that's
popped
a
up.
that's a topic which we need to move on to.
Yeah.
We saw during Austria how childish was it with the way how he drives. When he was chasing Lewis, I'm feeling like, is this guy really being again childish, being like, oh, this guy is having my position, I need to take it. And then he's like running, and then after that the car locks up, and then he gets a bit of an airtime, and it's just like, and literally his radio itself. Do you realize it's not just his engineers? Everyone, like all teams, will listen to the radio. Formula One, in fact, broadcasts these so-called radio messages through its platforms. And
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, why on planet Earth would he do something like this?
Arjun, unpopular opinion, I think it's warranted.
Or I
Think about
think
it. He's won 3 championships. He's won 3 championships with Red Bull, and he wants a car that's on the top. He needs a really good car. And for the past 2, 3 races, it's not been there at all. And clearly this race has kind of showed that McLaren has the best car. They've had the best car for such a long time. Red Bull, I think, maybe the third best car. I mean, Max has the third best car on the grid. And I get it, but obviously the radios were a bit too much. But I think it's completely understandable. I mean, it's so funny how his car kind of survived that incident with Hamilton. I thought he was going to DNF again.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if he had, then that Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri switching would have, I think that would have hurt McLaren even more.
Yeah.
And Lando Norris's title championships. Because at the end, if we reach
that'd be the
Dhabi
only
and we
talking
have
And there was
like
like
a title fight.
7 points.
Yeah.
I was literally
If-
like, I watch it on streams because can't get anything here. Watch it on streams, and when I was watching the race, we finished everything. Stella's having an interview with Sports, and one of the comments was like, "Imagine how bad Stella will feel if Max wins the championship to Lando by 7 points."
I mean, look, you can blame it just on the Hungary race as well, but then there have been so
Yeah.
many other races that they have made, mistakes and major mistakes. So you can't really blame them. It's their first time in a championship battle after a long while. So you can
Exactly.
only get better
Like-
after,
There is a popular opinion, say, because McLaren hasn't been champions for a while, and then they had a full team change. They had a new CEO come in. They have got new owners now. So pretty much McLaren is still in that, what do you call, in that premature stage of still winning. Because say with
Hmm.
Ferrari, with Mercedes, they have won a lot of championships and a lot of races. That's the case. But then with McLaren, it has been a while since a McLaren driver actually won something. And this year, in practical sense, McLaren coming on continuous podiums. And as a matter of fact, like Red Bull and McLaren are just like 51 points difference on constructors.
Yeah.
They are pretty
It's championship
close.
on.
It's championship
It's
on the
championship
constructors.
on.
But with
See,
Definitely.
if Perez keeps doing this, I'm pretty sure that McLaren will get on top. You know, if he continues not getting on the podiums, not scoring those many points, coming in the bottom, it is gonna
I
be the scenario.
I get that. But then at the
Mhm.
same time, I feel like Red Bull need to buck up as well. Because look, Max Verstappen is a great driver. He can really take a slow car and put it on pole position and win races. Now, we don't know how long he's been doing that for, but at least at the first part of the season, we have seen what Max can do with a car maybe that's not as competitive as it was before. But Red Bull need to show up. They need to really come up with upgrades, and they need to give a fight, or
Didn't
else
they come in this weekend with upgrades?
I'm not too sure about that, but
Well, they
if that's the
did.
case, then it's not
It
working.
didn't look like it did, but according to what they say, they did come in with upgrades. There were no upgrades on the McLaren, there were upgrades everywhere else.
It's not working
Well,
then. They've done a Ferrari thing.
You
Oh my
seem happy,
God.
Nathan. I mean,
I
you
don't know
look
if I should be
conflicted.
happy.
oh yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll tell you what Red Bull did its upgrades on. So Red Bull have made changes to its coke or engine cover and the halo fairings to aid cooling. More global performance has been targeted with an updated front wing that extracts more load and also via subtle changes in front and rear corners.
Okay.
So they did
I
do some
mean,
changes.
yeah, and it's clearly not worked. So this is going to be a really tasty championship. I'm so happy that Formula One is like this right now, and
No,
it's been a while
literally,
since we've had a good title fight.
literally, 2012 was the last time Formula One had this much amount of winners, and the
That was a
champion,
really good season.
and we are basically coming down to the very last race of the summer schedule, and the championship points between Max and the world champion and the driver and the second driver is 76 points. The
Hmm.
constructor is just 51 points. This gap is inching close. Again, if McLaren manages to get a P2, P3 for the very next race, then again that gap closes even further.
And honestly, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to McLaren overtaking Red Bull. Because see, it's gonna be probably if this happens, it's gonna be 30, 35 points of a difference, 40 points of a difference. Give it 3 more races and they might overtake if Checo keeps doing this thing and Max keeps not getting it. No, like if Max misses the podium.
Well, one thing is there. Checo, we don't know
He-
whether Checo will race for 3 more races, first thing.
That is there.
Because
Because,
the
I mean,
ultimatum is
do
coming.
you think he's not gonna race for the next 3 more races, or do you think he's gonna stay till the end of his contract and then not have the next year's contract renewed?
Well, in the last episode, we were actually discussing about what was basically Red Bull's terms and conditions on Sergio Perez's contract. And in that, one thing which Sergio Perez had was he should maintain at least 100 points difference between himself and Max Verstappen. Right now, this point is at basically 140 points.
What?
He should not be 5 places behind Max Verstappen in the World Championship. He's in the 7th place. He's now been overtaken by Lewis Hamilton.
Is Russell still behind
So
Perez, or Russell's ahead?
yes.
Russell's ahead of Perez.
No,
Russell's ahead of Perez.
no.
Russell is ahead.
Not
I
ahead.
am quite sure.
You're not quite sure. I'm very sure about it.
Wait.
I'm so
Okay,
because,
8 points.
because Russell didn't get the points at Silverstone.
Yeah.
So that's why his gap with Lewis kind of closed with just 1 point difference. And Lewis getting P3, which is
Yeah.
basically 15 points straight off, pulls him ahead easily.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
got
the
the
gap
win.
between Perez and Lewis have like 1 point of a difference.
Again, so unless in Red Bull some black magic happens or something, which I hope it doesn't, my god. if they manage to kind of bring Merkels to Checo's car and on Checo, then things are sorted for Red Bull.
I don't
Or else,
think Checo's coming back. I
Because
don't think so.
they're not going to
If
easy track.
he would have come by now.
No.
Because you see, if something were to be done, Christian Horner gets what he wants. We've seen that throughout the years. He gets what he wants. If he wanted Checo there next year, I know he has a contract, but I don't think he's gonna have it by the end of the summer break.
I don't know how much years you've been following Formula One, but it's not Christian Horner who rules Red Bull. It's Helmut Marko.
I don't even think he wants him there.
As far as concerned,
And
Helmut Marko was just
the
enjoying
way
Max
he
Verstappen
goes-
stays in Red Bull for a bit more time.
That's there, but I don't think as long as Checo keeps doing this and keeps losing out, I don't think there'll be a spot for him next year. Nathan, what do you think?
See, what are Red Bull's options? I mean, I actually wanted to ask you
Danny?
this question because it's so funny because Red Bull are in a really bad situation in terms of the drivers market.
Stability.
Yeah.
Carlos.
Yeah, and I
He
think
won't.
that's the reason why Carlos hasn't signed anything. But
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe he's just waiting for Perez to not have a contract anymore. Why would he stretch it this much then? Maybe he's talked to them and someone said that there's something in the works. Checo might not have a contract next year. At least wait till the summer break and then we'll see. Because we know most of the things happen during summer break. By the end of it, we will know what's going to happen to everybody.
But then again, I have a feeling that Red Bull would want a short-term fix because if it's going to continue this way, then it's going to hurt Red Bull even more with their
Maybe
title championship
Agreed.
this
maybe
season. So
Liam, maybe Danny.
No, so at
Don't
the
know.
moment, what is the situation is Daniel Ricciardo and Sergio Perez are being given time until Spa to work on their performance. And again, this week, I'll say Daniel Ricciardo qualified in a pretty good position. His strategy guys just screwed him over quite nicely that he basically ended up finishing in a pretty bad position because again, I saw his race and he had the drive. The only problem with Daniel was just that his strategist messed it up like big time because Daniel Ricciardo, like, he qualified P9, like, and he finished in P12. He in between tried doing the undercut, didn't work, and that too, they were one of the very first teams to do pit stops. And I was surprised to see he's on a hard tire and literally in like 10 or 12 laps he's called into pit because hard tires should be able to
Yeah.
go more than 12 laps.
yeah, maybe there was an issue with the tires or something like that. A bad luck. I don't know what it is. I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, Ricardo, I believe I love Ricardo. He's a really good driver. But then I don't know how he's going to do at Red Bull. I mean, we've seen how he has done in McLaren and the way he's just fallen off. He was not the same driver as he was back in his old Red Bull days.
But I mean, when he was testing for Red Bull and when Horner brought him in for an opportunity to actually get into RB, he was clocking very similar laps to Max.
In
That was
fact,
last
he
year.
Clocked the exact lap time to Max.
Exactly, but yeah, like Nathan said, that was last year. Would it be different with the car this year? I mean, why don't they try him out with this year's car and see where he goes? And I think the most logical option is to have someone for like a year contract because you don't know after the 2026 regulations, the car change, you don't know what's going to happen. The drivers could be, if anything, probably Ocon would be winning the championships instead of Max. So
Lol.
In the Haas? In the
who
Haas?
knows? Who knows where? But it could be interesting, you don't know what's gonna happen. As of now, you don't even know where anyone is. Half the drivers are.
So
You see-
you're saying Red Bull should get a new driver next season and not do anything about it this season?
if they want to win a championship this season, they should do something this season, which I think they are gonna do. It's the most likely option. I don't think they're gonna stick with Checo.
It's a Red Bull thing. Red Bull have done this before
We've
with
seen it
Gasly
with Alex.
and Albon.
We've seen it with exactly.
So they should do it. If they are not doing it, then there's something going on behind the
Albon and
scenes and we don't
Gasly.
know.
Albon and Gasly need to fight.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about Gasly, oh man, that
I
guy
feel so bad
has
for him. Trust me.
some bad luck, dude. I don't know what. I mean, he's got like that Charles Leclerc levels of bad luck. I'm
Charles
so-
Leclerc level, please. I mean, every single time he has a new part, okay? He goes probably like 1 lap or like 10 laps and he was like, yeah, I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore. And he goes back into the pit. I don't know what it is about Gasly and what it is about the Alpine. The fact
I
that
don't know
he's
how-
staying on and it's
Yeah.
Ocon that's leaving is even more funnier.
No, I don't know how engines work at Alpine because usually how it works, as how I think it should, you have a new engine in the car must work. But unfortunately for Pierre Gasly, the new engine just doesn't like him, does he? I don't know. He got a 50 place grid penalty in
Silverstone.
50
UK.
was unreal, man.
And then I think he had some other parts replaced as well for this race, if I'm
Quite
not
a
wrong.
few, yeah.
Yeah, and he had a hydraulics issue this race and a
Yeah.
gearbox issue last race. So, man, that's
He's
a lot
having
of bad
really
luck.
bad luck. Did they make the wrong choice?
To be very honest,
But that
these
midfield
questions-
fight is really, really good,
But-
isn't it?
Yeah, but then,
Huh?
to be very honest, this actually questions
Yeah.
French engineering. This really
Actually.
questions the French engineering and Renault. Is Renault a reliable car?
No.
Please.
No.
You know? And also about the Alpine, because they have rehired someone called Flavio Bertore, who was the ex-Renault team principal, but he got out because of the famous scandal, the Formula One scandal, which involved Fernando Alonso as well. He is now proposing to ditch the Renault engines and switch to, listen in, a Mercedes engine. Alpine going to be a customer team to Mercedes. That basically just
Adding another one to the list, Mercedes?
yeah, so pretty much they'll not be called Alpine Renault, it'll be called Alpine Mercedes. How funny will that be?
Yeah.
And
And
imagine all of
that's
a
good
sudden-
business for Mercedes.
Yeah, but then at the end of the day, like, see, they are still producing this again, goes on to the cost cap.
That's true.
Because
Hey, look, you know what? Maybe there's another team that will beat Mercedes.
Audi.
I mean,
You didn't just see, McLaren's already up there. Might as well
Yeah,
add
you
another
never
Yeah,
one to the
McLaren,
list.
but again, McLaren
Yeah.
is still McLaren is still a Mercedes engine, FYI.
Yeah, but we're doing better.
You can't say you're doing better.
But they
Again, I think there's no way we can say McLaren is doing better because I feel like Mercedes have already reached the same position where they are performing on equal powers. Of course, with the lap time stuff,
Yeah.
there is some sort of work to do, but I'm pretty certain that Mercedes is reaching that level of McLaren.
That is true.
I would say that. But yeah, coming back to Alpine and Renault engines and stuff, I personally think they should just be like, oh, you know what? We give up the championship. We'll just come back next year. You know, like how certain Le Mans teams, they just give up the championship and just be like, okay, you know what? We'll work our thing and come back.
I
They
feel
should do
like
something like that.
they should. But if we're talking about Alpine, what about Sauber? They still don't even have a single point.
Oh, we have stories about Sauber as well. As a matter of fact, people from Sauber are being fired today. And guess who comes to
Yeah.
replace them?
Also being
Mattia
hired today.
Otto.
I'm so happy that he's in.
Listen,
as a
I feel like they lost out. I mean, Alfa Romeo Sauber, when they lost with Buscom as an engineer, I feel like she personally gave them some points. Her switching to talking on F1 TV, I love seeing her there, but I love seeing her as an engineer more. I feel like Bernardo coming in would be so much more better for them, and they would be a little bit more faster gaining points. I don't know. He has experience. You never know. Different team.
That's what I thought as well. That
I
is
know
what I thought as
I know
well.
he must have Ferrari, but you never know, Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been in Ferrari. He was in that team for such a long time as an engine side engineer and also obviously as a team principal. He's not had a really good stint as a team principal. But then again, new team, new environment, you never know. I think Mattia could do well, but just hearing him be part of like a team as a team principal, I don't know, just gives me a lot of bad flashbacks.
No. He's not. He's not
but
the
like-
He
team.
had a horrid year.
No, so he's not the team principal, by the way. So Mattia joins
Then?
as the chief
Oh.
technical officer. He will basically assume the chief technical officer position, and then from there he will do his business. And it's
Okay,
just
I think personally that's a really good role for him. And I believe still now, this day, that he should have done that role for Ferrari. And he
Because
was the
the-
best at it.
because he is one of those engineers who created Ferrari's I don't remember what's the exact number, the F2000s, which Michael Schumacher drove. And since then, he was part of Ferrari. But what's actually surprising me is that this
Yeah.
guy normally always speaks Italian. He's gone to a German team now. Is he going to speak German now?
I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll convert all of them to Italians.
Audi is an Italian team.
Audi
I
has
don't
an
think that's
Italian
gonna
nowhere.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Gesture. I can just picture it.
I like him when he spoke English, It was so
Who
funny,
knows?
like his way he
Maybe Gunther will teach him some German.
maybe he
Maybe
does
he
know.
knows German, yeah.
But again, I just want to also shed light onto Mercedes and Ferrari's improvements. Again, it wasn't the best of the best
Mhm.
races for Ferrari in Silverstone.
Even judging the improvements of Ferrari.
No, but
Compared to
see,
last race,
no,
That is true.
definitely it's an
compared
improvement.
That
to
is true.
last race, you see in the top
P4
seven.
and P6 is really good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, they easily got 20 points on the weekend versus what they.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I really feel that I think this weekend Ferrari are the most happiest team. Red
Yeah.
Bull have been with Max and Perez; they are out. Mercedes messed up with Russell in
Russell.
I
qualifying,
don't think
and
Mercedes
yeah, they
messed up
did a
with Russell.
recovery. But
Like,
I think Mercedes is
I'm
a little
gonna.
more happy than McLaren is.
Of course.
seriously,
No, so in a way, because this is something which I even saw today. So Mercedes trackside engineer Andrew Shovlin said, since the newer regulation on the cars, it is a lot more harder for Lewis Hamilton to set his qualifying lap times. Because again, the style of how Lewis drives, he needs
Okay.
a car which is basically full on attack, like with the corners. And Lewis has his own driving style, which he's been using it on generations of Formula One cars. So in a way, if Lewis is kind of getting there and trying to win those races, at least get to the podium, which is basically solid points for the team, it works pretty well. And for George, as a matter of fact, George was basically stuck behind Valtteri Bottas. And with Valtteri Bottas, one good thing about Valtteri Bottas is Valtteri Bottas's defense is an insane thing. He's got some impressive defensive
Yeah.
skills. Like how we say with K-Mag, the same way Valtteri has got some impressive defense skills. And in fact, it's just that he was running behind Valtteri's dirty air, which just ruined his race.
But it's a shame that Russell couldn't be up there porting Lewis. And yeah, I mean, I think if I'm not wrong, the Mercedes car, they don't do that well in the heat. And considering that this race was a bit of an outlier in terms of the weather, because it was a pretty hot day. And I don't think the
Exactly.
Mercedes car does really well in the heat. So,
And-
latter part of the season is going to be really good for Mercedes
Like,
during
I'm just thinking,
the winter.
say, if it's a wet race, probably Mercedes can ace it out easily.
Definitely.
Let's say Canada, for example. George took it like fair and square on the pole, and still he managed to kind of get there and get the job done. So
yeah, he should have won that race as well.
Exactly.
And at least, luckily, he did end up winning Austria. They are really good in the cold temperatures, Mercedes.
yeah,
And they
so
have a
that's
really good
something
car.
which we even see coming up in Spa, which is our final race before F1 goes on holidays for a while. In a way, I personally feel it's a good season. So much on-track drama, off-track drama, that probably Netflix may find it so hard to edit Drive to Survive.
They could base the whole Drive to Survive season based on this race. Every team had some issue or
Exactly.
the other. Think about it.
Wow. Again,
Think
I'm,
about it.
I'm just thinking about it. Because, of course, you had, with this particular qualifying, you had the main Red Bull go out in Q1. You had the second RB, like the RB, not the Red Bull, but the RB, basically having its own sweet time with the walls. So altogether,
Yeah.
we are seeing something here and there happening.
I don't want to say it, but it's been the best season so far since that 2012 season that we have seen. We have had different winners. We have a Constructors' Championship. Hopefully, if McLaren do well and don't mess up, and if Red Bull are stagnant, we will get a Drivers' Championship, and that is going to be amazing. And that's even better. The 2025 season is going to be a banger because, again, no regulation changes. The cars are going to be almost pretty much the same because everyone's going to be focusing on 2026. So I am really happy where
Of
Formula One
course,
is
you'll be
right
happy
now.
because you've got my man coming there, and his primary job is to get the car in the front.
Yeah, we're racing for the Italian pride. Can't wait.
No, just imagine the way when Ferrari wins a championship after Michael Schumacher. The last time Michael Schumacher won a Ferrari championship, and then realistically Charles Leclerc should have in 2022. In fact, he
Don't forget
dominated.
about Kimi.
Oh, Kimi Raikkonen, my
Don't
bad.
forget about Kimi. Kimi was the last champion for Ferrari. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. I completely forgot. The Iceman, of course. How can we
Of
forget?
course, yeah.
How can we forget? Yeah, so Charles Leclerc should
Yeah.
have been the legitimate winner, but then, of course, nothing happened. And then there comes
Yep.
the Bulls.
Yeah.
Because I thought, okay, probably
Let's see.
because you see, Max hasn't won a single race for the past a race for like 3 times. I
Mhm.
feel like this is basically revival of 2021 season, where probably Abu Dhabi will have the fight. I don't know, and then in
Mm.
between, some random driver will come and snatch the win. You may not know, but I'm seeing a pretty good feeling with this particular season.
Yeah. What do you think? Will we get an eighth winner in Spa?
Eighth winner in Spa again. Now that all top four teams have got both their drivers. No, Sergio Perez hasn't won yet.
Perez hasn't won yet.
Oh,
Perez hasn't
sorry.
won yet.
Like except Red Bull, all the
Yeah.
other top four teams have got both their drivers win at least one race. So
Yeah. They've
you
all
win.
won one race. Exactly one race.
Yeah.
Which is so funny.
No, in
So
a way, it's
let's see.
just that okay. You go here, win this. You go here, win this. You know, it's like you're basically assigning one each driver one track to win.
Yeah.
Like
That was the 2012 season. Like, I mean, it's funny because was it seven winners or six winners? They won six different Grand Prix, like
yeah,
consecutively.
yeah.
That was an unbelievable,
No,
run.
technically, you see here we have three drivers winning three different races.
Yeah.
So
So
in a way, it
you
kind
never
of
know. What do you
it kind of works.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Arjun, about the next race? I mean, obviously, it's the last race before the summer break, Spa. I love that track. Honestly, it's like an amazing track. I really love it. It's like a flowing, long track. Even in wet weather or in dry weather, it's just an unbelievable sight to watch. Even if you just watch the pole position lap, just watching the car go through Eau Rouge, down the straight, and through the corners, it's just really good. So, what do you think? What predictions do you have for that race
Well,
for Spa?
being a track which typically during these times will rain, I am not
Hmm.
discounting Mercedes because Mercedes has got some insane power coming its way on the wets. And Lewis being I like how Jeremy Clarkson said, if it rains, the oldies will do it the best.
Yeah.
So I am not discounting Lewis out of a podium. At least a
Hmm.
podium. I don't exactly know where he will come into that podium, but I am not discounting him. I'll either also not discount Lando Norris.
Hmm. For sure,
So
definitely. Yeah.
so I don't know. Probably will it be a Mercedes one too, or whether will it be like Mercedes, McLaren, Mercedes, or Ferrari
Yeah.
come back?
Yeah. There's no way.
Because no.
There's no way.
See, technically, Hungary is basically Monaco with no walls.
Yeah.
That is Hungary, and you have two DRS zones, very interesting places to overtake. But you know, since I told the overtake bit, I need to give a special shout out to Lewis Hamilton,
What for?
keeping behind a Max Verstappen with DRS.
Hmm.
Like what? How in Italian these people say bellissimo? That was pure
Bellissimo.
bellissimo, exactly. That is the pure racing action right there. You had two
Yeah.
drivers go wheel
Yeah.
to wheel. I was seeing Lewis Hamilton of Prime doing that. But you
Mm.
know, coming back to the predictions, I would say, wow, I gotta be a bit more diplomatic over here. I will Lewis, Lando, and Sainz.
Oh, science. Okay. So that's a Mercedes, McLaren, and Ferrari. That order.
Yes. And then yeah,
I
fourth will
see.
come Max Verstappen.
Okay, so Max finishes out of the podium. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, you never know. I feel like Red Bull don't even have that car to win that race or win a race or even finish on the podium. Because of how well Mercedes and McLaren are doing, I really don't think they have a choice. They have an option,
And
but they have a
and
chance
they are
to,
bringing
to
an
win.
upgrade to Spa as well.
Let's see if that maybe works. Then I don't know. Maybe we might see like another boring Max Verstappen wins by 20 seconds race. I hope
No, but
not.
then you know Max
But
Verstappen actually in risk of penalties because he actually did change his engine all like to the limit of its actual number of times it was supposed to be changed. So any more
hmm,
newer engine parts or stuff, he will be penalized because at the
yeah,
moment
and
they're sitting
actually,
and using like used engines and then putting them back on.
yeah, and that's gonna hurt Max because he doesn't have a fast car anymore. So even if he gets like a 10 place or 20 place grid penalty or he goes all the way back, it's gonna hurt him because he doesn't have a fast car anymore.
No, and do you realize Max Verstappen's car was like that had like major updates in its aero system. Sergio Perez kind of performed well. Max, in fact, was becoming a pure disaster.
Mm.
But yeah,
I mean,
let's hear
let's
your
see.
predictions.
My predictions are simple. Okay, as a Ferrari fan, I would want a Ferrari, finishing and
That's
winning the
that's
race.
that's always
But that's
every
not gonna
fan's
happen.
thing. No, what
Yeah,
if?
but
What
to
if
be
they bring
more,
a wet package?
mhm.
You may not know.
I mean, I don't know what the development strategy is for Ferrari, but regardless of whatever it is, I hope after the summer break or at some point of time they do bring updates to the car, because Ferrari are that last team that need to be there in the title fight. And they're still there. They're, I think, third, if I'm not wrong, on the constructors. Charles Leclerc is third as well, and just right behind him is Carlos Sainz. So in terms of a team dynamic, they're really close together. Both the drivers are close, and they are a really team that's just filled with unity. They've done really well, and they've executed strategy, except for a few races. But in terms of my prediction, I see McLaren doing well again this race. 1-2, I'm not too sure, because if it's going to be cold, then I won't discount the Mercedes. So I would probably see maybe Lando, Russell, and Hamilton. That's my top three.
Lando, what do you say? Lando, Verstappen, and
Russell
Hamilton.
and
Oh,
Hamilton.
Lando, Russell, and Hamilton. Oh,
Russell.
a 2-3. Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. That's some
Yeah.
insane amount of bet coming from your end.
Yeah, I'm secretly a Mercedes fan. But anyway, we'll move
Whoa!
on.
Revelations. What happened? Who influenced you?
No one did. I was just joking. Oh, I mean,
Oh
I
man,
don't
come
know.
on, you
Let's
just gave
see.
me hope for a second.
If it's a cold race, then Mercedes have a chance. If it's not, and if it's going to be really hot and sunny, then maybe
You
McLaren will
know,
too. Don't know.
surprisingly, I've been seeing since Canada onwards, it's either P1 or P3. So in Canada and Spain, Russell and Hamilton finished in P3. Great Britain and Austria,
Mm.
Hamilton and Russell finished P1. Hungary, Hamilton finished P3. I don't know, probably. Will it
Yeah,
be a P3 finish by Russell? Just to kind of follow the order.
you never know.
Again, because
You know what?
because
Even if you
what?
really can't discount a crazy race as well, especially if it's raining in Spa, you cannot
That is going to
discount
be
an eighth winner.
interesting race.
You
Definitely going to
cannot
be
discount an
interesting.
eighth winner. Yeah,
Agreed.
I mean, let's see how the race pans out. I can't wait.
Wow, this has become so much exciting right now. Probably Abu Dhabi ticket may actually be worth it to see.
Yeah,
You may not
it's
know.
definitely worth it now, for sure.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah,
I
I hope
really
it comes down to. I
the
hope the
last race.
championship fight comes down to Abu Dhabi.
Then it's easier for us to go and watch, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. But
Right.
it's gonna be expensive, so there's no chance.
Again, as if Yas Marina Circuit listening, please, some tickets this way would be lovely, would be highly appreciated. Thank you.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah, on that terrible disappointment, thank you so much for tuning on to another episode of Formula Pod. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and our podcasts are available across all different platforms. Until then, and until the Spa race is over, thank you so much once again, and see ya another time. Ciao! No, goodbye.